This video shows why I am submitting a digital tenure portfolio and how doing so is the best way to present my research and teaching, which focus on born digital or new media texts that cannot exist offline. Working in this area has posed several research questions in relation to my own tenure application. In 2006, I began building a digital tenure portfolio using a blog, since many of my research and teaching activities could not be represented on CD or in print formats. I have gone through 7 blog templates since then, each of which I redesigned to suit my tenure needs. In preparation for tenure at ISU, I migrated to a red blog with apples to invoke my professional identity, but the design was too country, so I tweaked it and added Reggie the Redbird, which scared outside readers who asked, "Where is Cheryl in this design?" In my field, website design is a representation of personal or academic identity. For me, those identities are tightly merged, so I wanted something a little more me, which meant a little more pink. I wanted to choose between black with pink or pink with black, and I went with the more conventional design, since a tenure portfolio is not expected to be designed at all, let alone with pink flair. For the rest of this introduction, I'm going to focus on evaluation and intellectual labor in relation to new media scholarship and how that plays out in my tenure portfolio. The issues of inclusivity and dissemination will be implicit in those arguments. The lack of recognition of digital scholarship is well documented in the humanities. As the 2006 MLA report on evaluating scholarship suggested, the numbers for tenure committees understanding how to evaluate digital scholarship may be readily related to the low number of digital scholarship entries they actually receive. It's not surprising, in other words, that tenure committees don't know how to evaluate such work when they rarely see it. In the summer of 2006, I conducted a study asking digital writing scholars whether they had produced any new media scholarship and whether any of that scholarship had counted towards tenure. The majority said they hadn't, because their university's tenure guidelines were unclear on electronic scholarship, and they didn't want to take the chance that their work wouldn't count. There are several governing bodies in the humanities, including the Modern Language Association, which offers guidelines for both tenure committees and for tenure track scholars wanting to promote their digital scholarship in their tenure packages. These guidelines typically tell scholars to explain and evaluate your own work so that tenure readers can understand it. For instance, here's an invited piece that I co-authored with Kristen Arela. We wrote and designed the piece. It includes on the blue post-it note some viewing recommendations and navigation instructions. It also includes more traditional components of scholarly articles, such as the work cited, which you can link to from the bottom. All of the images are image maps where you can click on them and get to more information, including this linear introduction that I wrote to the piece. The purpose of this piece was to introduce students who were transitioning from graduate student status to tenure track status and to what that transition might entail, both emotionally and professionally. We chose to design this piece as a corkboard with a desktop-like interface so that we could include multimodal components from different contributors who are offering advice to graduate students in different kinds of media, such as written text, audio clips, video clips, and this chat conversation that Kristen and I introduced each section of the web text with. Pieces like this often have links to outside resources, but when the texts are viewed offline and the links don't work, the purpose of those links becomes degraded. The intellectual work of new media isn't easy to recognize in the same way that readers have come to recognize the labor involved in the process of writing scholarly articles. For print articles, most academic readers implicitly understand genre conventions such as length and organization. In a web text, however, what you don't see is the intellectual labor that goes into the completed product. For instance, in this 1-minute excerpt from this 3-minute video that I created, you don't see the camera person panning a specific location, my directing this colleague in blocking, the hours of storyboarding, and scripting, writing dialogue based on theory that's relevant to the field, or every calculated move, all of which is based on research of the Mission Impossible TV series, so that the video looks just like the opening segments. Why did I do all of this? What was my purpose? To introduce a student video showcase at the local theater. These videos were created in my multimodal composition class, in which this citation of the Michael Wesch video from YouTube served as a seminal text for the students in the class. Readers are often shocked when I tell them how long it took me to create this 3-minute video. The total time? 30 hours. In this behind-the-scenes look at iMovie as I'm composing this video introduction, the issues of length and organization change dramatically in new media texts, which cause us to rethink what it is that we value in regards to intellectual capital of new media texts in relation to print. Although I haven't talked about the other two research questions that this issue brings up about inclusivity and dissemination of non-traditional scholarship, I have a few ideas about how to recraft our guidelines to be more inclusive of this kind of work. For instance, in this blog portfolio, I had to re-envision and remove some of the redundancies across different documents for the tenure process. Nonlinear documents such as my blog allow for this kind of linking between different media and different elements of the portfolio instead of repeating them on paper. In the end, however, I know that I'm taking some liberties with this digital portfolio for my tenure application, and I would like to make myself available to tenure readers to guide anyone through the process of reading this application. In addition, on the main page of my blog are navigation instructions which will point readers towards different sections of my portfolio and how they compare to the print application guidelines. Thank you for considering my tenure case, and I look forward to any questions you might have and to your decision. Thank you.